Hello, everyone. I'm Ryan Garcia from Fireside Yankees, and today I have a very special guest, first guest of the offseason. I have Hoodie Maybin from Twitter, the biggest Correa guy, the Correa guy. If you think about Correa in New York, you're thinking about Hoodie Maybin. Why don't you introduce yourself?
What's going on, everyone? Well, I'm Hoodie Maybin. I'm the guy who started the Correa against everyone's will back in probably April when Gleyber Torres was messing up some routine ground balls. And to some people's disdain, I was tweeting out Correa photoshops, and ever since then, it's pretty much only gotten worse.
Well, I mean, there's no other way to put it other than he's the best player on the market. He is everything every Yankee fan has ever described in a player. They just don't like that the name is Carlos Correa, which is unbelievable to me.
Yeah, exactly. Like, people say we can't forget about the cheating, whatever, but then they want to improve defense up the middle. To quote a bunch of boomers on Twitter, shortstop defense is important. I mean, the Yankees have been shit at shortstop, like, for our entire lives. Like, we've never had an elite defensive shortstop pretty much since defensive metrics have been a thing. I mean, maybe Derek Jeter when he was a little younger probably had some more range, probably not as bad, but ever since they've been in existence, we've been near or at the bottom of every ranking, just defensively at least.
Right. And then, you think about the whole, you want the off the field, that like dog mentality, that killer mentality. Yankees don't have enough of that killer mentality. I mean, Correa is literally like one of the best, like in terms of what you just see when you're watching the games and when you're seeing him like take those mound visits. He's probably one of the best leaders in baseball, however you want to define that. And yet Yankee fans don't want him because he's not like, he just wouldn't fit in well here, even though Boone loves him, Hal loves him, Cashman loves him. I don't know who else needs to love him for us to want to get him.
Exactly. I mean, they loved Rougned Odor doing his mound visits during the year and everything. And I mean, it was great, but like Rougned Odor sucks. So it kind of takes the fun a little. So when you have a guy like Correa, who's a clubhouse presence, he's just a presence on the field. We don't have anyone like that. Like, you can say Judge, I'm not in the clubhouse, so I can't say whether or not what happens, but he's not very outspoken. And whenever we do something, it usually backfires in our faces anyway, which kind of ruins it.
Right. And then on top of that, it's just a matter of, I mean, who else are you going to give that money to? The other option that you have there is Corey Seager, but I mean, there's a reason why Corey Seager's projected to get less money than Correa. He's a great hitter, but I mean, 2 years, is he going to play shortstop? He's not even a good defensive shortstop right now. So outside of the bat, I mean, there's nothing to him. Yeah,
I mean, he's a generational hitting shortstop. I don't really know. I don't want Seager, as everyone knows, but like, I'm not going to straight up lie. Like, he's a great hitter. I mean, you can't deny it. He's been the best hitting shortstop since he came into the league. Not even Correa's been worse than him, so you can't deny that. He's never been even an above average shortstop, really. We just don't need worse infield defense, especially for shelling out, 35 million Scott Boras is going to want per year.
Yeah, and you hit it on the head. I mean, Seager's a very good player. There's no doubting that. It's just, I mean, there's just not, like, Correa is such a perfect fit for the Yankees in every aspect. And then you think about the fact that the Yankees are going to be you don't hear the Dodgers as heavily involved in Correa as they are with Seager. So, I mean, your other teams that you're bidding against are what, the Tigers, the Marlins, who else? Who else has been linked to Correa? Like the Twins?
The Mariners.
Right. Like, no offense to these teams. And, I'm sure that I'm not saying the Tigers have no chance or these teams have no chance, but there's really no excuse for the Yankees to get outbid here. It has to be that Correa doesn't want to come here. And that's basically been out of the window since the offseason started.
I mean, no, like, Tigers fans are great. Like, they deserve to have money being spent. Like, they should be going in soon with their convention window. But, like, you cannot be getting outbid by the Detroit Tigers. It just can't happen. And unless, like you said, Correa does not want to come, which I strongly don't think is true. And I think if you put a gun to his head, he says that he wants the Yankees to give him the biggest offer because I think he wants to play here. I don't think he gives a crap about any of the cheating or the booing. Like, I mean, people will bring up like the screenshot of like the Astros reporter saying he gets death threats. Every athlete gets death threats. Like, name any athlete, their family's gotten threatened. It's the way the world is. People are scumbags. Like, they're going to threaten athletes. So every Astros fan I know has thought that he's going to be a Yankee the last like 3 years. Like, he wants to play in the spotlight in that big moment.
And as well for that screenshot, you see like some Mets fans using, why would he go to New York in general if he hates this place so much? Going to Queens versus going to Brooklyn. I mean, first the Bronx, excuse me.
They're both dumps.
Yeah, and on top of that, I mean, he's most likely not going to live in the Bronx. He's probably going to go to like Westchester or like upstate or like live in a nice place. Dude's not going to go live in a mansion
like Eric Cole does in like rural Connecticut.
Yeah, dude's not going to live in like, you're not going to like go to like going to work, you're going to go to the elevator, you're like, oh, that's Carlos Correa. How are you, man? Like, it's not going to happen. And if he goes to the Mets, I mean, do they think like the Mets are going to pay Baez and then give $300 million to Correa when they have $300 million in Lindor and have like a $800 million infield? Like, if that happens, that's just the Mets. That would be Steve Cohen putting it all on the table. But is that more realistic than him deciding, I don't want to be in New York, but I also like the Mets are not a team where it's like, I will be willing to forego being in New York, or I'll not forego the fans hating me to be a Met when the Mets maybe don't have the financial resources, considering they're going to have so many other holes. Just doesn't really make sense to me. Same with Boston too. Boston's not like Correa much either. Boston's like, no, they do not. The city of Boston has how many? To them. Yeah, how many players have come out and said Boston's like they have yelled racial slurs at those
we guys. Don't need to. I don't think we need to talk about how bad the city of Boston is. I think that's a given. You don't really need to.
Right. Like,
no one needs convincing that Boston doesn't have great people.
It doesn't really make much sense to like bring up the whole that screenshot of what happened, because if that was the case, Correa wouldn't even use the Yankees as leverage, because then there are some teams who are just not like the Yankees could hit a ridiculous number with Correa that he would just not be able to turn down. If he's using the Yankees only as leverage, the Yankees are going to snuff that out pretty quickly and they'll just pivot. It'll happen.
Yeah, I mean, Correa's smart. The Yankees are smart. Like they're not going to be baited like that. Also, like they're going to know what they want. And like, I mean, I've been saying for a while, I don't think if you can get Lindor to play second base, then I guess like, sure, then you're paying him $34 million a year to be a second baseman, which isn't great. I mean, if Steve Cohen does it and just says like, screw you to everyone and just pays him $700 million combined, I mean, like credit to him. Like that's what he should be doing. That's not in the realm of possibility. I think, like you said, Baez is a much more realistic option who'd actually be willing to play second base, because I don't think Lindor wants to move off shortstop just for like ego reasons too. Like he was like their guy, and you're not going to, and then 1 year later they signed Correa and you're like, yeah, you're out here. Like you're not playing shortstop anymore. So I don't see them in the realm of possibility. I don't see Boston either, just because of that kind of money with the guy like Bloom and GM too. I think story for Boston makes a lot of sense. Lacking, they can move Bogarts to second, which he said he's willing to do. So I could see that. And then I guess it really comes down to like the Yankees, Tigers, and I guess you can't count out the Dodgers just because they're the Dodgers and it's annoying, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you fully on the idea. Like even Lindor, like moving to second base, at that point he's what, a 110 WRC plus second baseman with a very good defense. Like that's good, but you wouldn't even be the best player at his position. You're going to be paying him by far the most money. It just doesn't make much sense. And if you move Correa to third, I mean, you're going to pay that much for a third baseman. Kind of kills a lot of Correa's value. And you know, with Yankee fans mentioning like the whole like, well, you want to move Seager to third, and that's the idea because Volpe is the guy, and you want him at short. I mean, if we're talking about guys who can move to third, Correa's probably a better third. Like Correa's a third baseman might be actually the best. Like he might be able to be like a Matt Chapman like guy out there with his arm, with his like mobility, with his range.
I mean, he has the best arm in like the infield. Like his arm this year, he averaged 85.5 miles an hour on throws. Just for reference, Seager was 78.6 miles an hour. That's 7 miles an hour fewer. And then Story was 77.3. So he has an enormous edge over everyone pretty much. Like he has all of like the top throws velocity wise, like above 90. Like he has like the best arm you could argue of anyone in the infield. Maybe Matt Chapman. I don't really know much of the data, but I know he has a cannon. But Seager isn't even like Seager. I know in terms of arm run save defensive wise, like he isn't really good at that either. And Correa ranks at the top of that too. So I don't really saying Seager can slide over to third easier doesn't make a ton of sense, just because I don't know what qualities he has that suit well at third base.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of like we shouldn't I feel like when we're at the point now where the frustration's mounting with the fact that we've had Judge on a rookie deal and we're on his last year of his rookie deal and we still haven't got into a World Series. Enough's enough. Just get the best player. Get the better player between the two. There's really no reason to have to settle for Seager. I mean, I'm going to cope about Seager so that if the Yankees do get him, I can like say, oh, I'm a big Seager guy. Yeah, love Seager.
Oh, no, you're the coping. You are the cope. I'm the Correa king. You are the coping king. No one even comes close. You will have like the steamer, the X run value for every player that we sign, even if you've been shitting on them the last 6 months.
Bro, I'm not even joking. Like, we could sign Trevor Story, and I've shitted on Trevor Story the last few weeks. I'm just going to pivot and say, well, you know what? Here's the thing, right? Projections are great and all.
Oh, his elbow is so cooked.
Bro, I actually, like, I think whatever.
Trevor Story's elbow is absurdly cooked.
We can literally end the Tigers all season by signing Correa, because then they're going to have to shell out money for Story, and they're not going to love giving him that much money. Or they might not even give him that money. Like, we can literally end their offseason. Not Seager, excuse me, Story. We can literally end the Tigers offseason with one move. Because they can't, like, they'll try to do other things.
Be a great middle finger.
Yeah, and I want to do it. Like, I think, you know, again, you're right. Like, Tigers fans, you know what? They're a pretty good fan base. I've got nothing against them, but I want to end your offseason. Your offseason is Correa. Like, They love Erod. They're going to love Erod. They're going to love having Barnhart platooning, but they wanted Correa. That's who they want. I want him more, and I know my franchise should be giving him more money. But yeah, I'm going to be ready to cope for Story. I'm ready. Base running, like DRS. It doesn't matter, man. My infield, like, I'm not even joking. I don't understand like how you're supposed to rank how good defensive metrics are, but I'm like, yeah, no, you rank defensive metrics by like their correlation to like next year OAA or DRS.
No, whichever one fits your narrative.
Because you know what? Infield OAA, it loves guys like Lindor, loves guys like Nick Ahmed. None of those guys are gonna be on my team. It hates guys like Trevor Story. It hates guys like Corey Seager. So you know what? I hate OAA. That's not my metric. I love DRS. And Judge is not great in OAA either. So DRS is my metric. I love defensive run saved.
Exactly.
And Correa is what the best. Yeah, he's the best defender in defensive run saved. So you know what?
Exactly.
Same thing with Baseball Reference WAR. That is my favorite. Like, that is like my favorite version of WAR by far. Like, it is an incredible invention. It's beautiful.
Except for pitchers.
Except for pitchers. But even then, I mean, F4 for pitchers is incredible. F4, Robbie Ray's 3.9 F4. My number 3 for next year.
Barely better than Monty.
Exactly. Like, I'm not going to respect the guy who's not as good at, like, who's barely better than Montgomery. When Montgomery had like the worst defensive shortstop, I don't care what the numbers say. Like, Gleyber Torres is one of the worst defensive players I've ever had to fucking watch. He's so bad. He's an actual idiot. Do you remember that Marlins game?
Our shortstop defense has been so bad.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, I don't think people realize how important shortstop defense is. Since defensive runs saved, we have minus 248. Like, since the stat has been invented, whatever year, like 2000, we have minus 248, which ranks last of all time. And the next closest is the A's with minus 127. So we have them beat by over minus 120 runs. And then since 2016, or 2015, since outs above average has existed, we are dead last for shortstops at minus 69. Very nice. And the next closest is the Padres at minus 47. So we've literally been the worst shortstop defense team in our entire lives, pretty much.
And you know what's the big thing there too? Like, I feel like this really isn't talked about. Like, we really, and center field too, it's kind of the same case where we had Bernie and he was on his last legs in the the 2000s. And then we put in like Damon, and I don't remember how good Damon was, but I know that like Hicks was really bad in the last like 3 years at center field. The Yankees.
Hicks is cooked.
Yeah, I think it's not talked about enough. Like, maybe the guys that are regressing outside of like the Rothschild era, that absolutely disgusting era of Yankee baseball for pitchers. Like, is there something to be said that like the Yankees' bad defense in some of the most important defensive positions has cost them, like with these pitchers? Like, you can't really have a ground ball guy and have Gleyber Torres in that second, Corey Seager at short and DJ LeMahieu at third. That's not like that's not
look at the peripherals of Astros pitchers look at the Astros pitching success, and look what they've had at shortstop. Since Correa has been in the league, he's been 4th in defensive runs saved, 8th in outs above average. So you wonder why they could have some worse peripherals or whatever, but they're just preventing runs better because at the most important position, they have the best defender.
Right. And the system's moving towards ground balls, and a lot of teams are like, yo, if you want to give up batted balls, if you're not Garrett Cole, Justin Verlander, guys like that, who you can get a bunch of strikeouts and you can live in the top part of the strike zone, you got to get a bunch of ground balls. If you're going to make a system like that and your infield defense is atrocious, I mean, you're setting yourself up to fail. I'm sorry, like Joel, like if you're gonna have a guy like Joely, it's not gonna work with it. The projected infield with Seager would probably be one of the worst defensive infields for any team trying to compete for a World Series title. And I know that I had my back and forth with you. It was like, oh, the Dodgers won a World Series with Corey Seager. They also had like Turner was a good defender in 2020 at third and at second base. Roster. Yeah, their defensive infield was not that bad outside of Seager.
They've been the top of the league in defense when the last however many years when they've been in the World Series and everything.
Right.
And just like let's say we sign Corey Seager and our defense is DJ LeMahieu at third base, Corey Seager at shortstop, Gleyber Torres at second against every one of my cells in my body, and then let's even say Matt Olson at first base if we're being feisty, but it's probably going to be feeble Rizzo. But let's say it's that's a terrible, like, that defense is not good.
Right.
Like, and especially with the emphasis that Matt Blake and Sam Marine have been bringing towards ground balls, people like Clay Holmes, Joely Rodriguez, I mean, even Wandy to an extent, Monty. How do you feel about ground balls being hit to that left side of the infield with two probably below average defenders? And I'm even more confident of DJ being slightly above average and Seager being slightly above average.
And, you also think about, like, I mean, you remember that those games where Monty would have where he would just get absolutely destroyed on weak ground balls and they would come back to bite him and it would cut him short in starts. You'd only be able to get through the fifth or barely get through the fourth. And it's like, I mean, it's not a reliable way to build a pitching staff. It's not a reliable way to build an infield. If the Yankees want to win, they know that there is Correa, there is, your entire team gets better, your entire pitching staff gets better, your offense gets better, your defense is that much better, and then we're not going to get the top guy again. We're going to kind of just let him go, and we're going to settle for the Seager, and it's just kind of going to be the same thing over and over again. We're going to have the same problem next year, same conversation next year, same conversation the year after, and then you have to depend on Volpe and Peraza, if Peraza's still here. Hopefully he's not. Hopefully he's not here by tomorrow. Yeah, because if he's still here by Friday, all the 40-man guys that we thinking are going to go in that Olsen trade, they're all gone. Like, they're just in the Rule 5 draft, and they're going to just be picked up by other teams. They will not be in the organization anymore. So, that's going to be stressful. But yeah, no, you're putting all the pressure on Volpe, and defensive metrics in the minor leagues are not great. Like, Gleyber was a pretty decently graded defender at shortstop, and then never figured it out. If Volpe doesn't figure it out, we're going to be in the same cycle over and over again. Even Jeter was like, "Oh, he figured it out defensively." Yeah. Like, it doesn't work like that. You got to have that guy.
And Volpe, a lot of people are saying he doesn't even project to be even an above average shortstop, if a shortstop at all. It'd be one thing if they were saying, like, yeah, he can play shortstop for a while, maybe not elite. They're saying he might not even be one for a long time. Like, that's a red flag.
Yeah. And you already have one guy who's a middle infielder who tried at shortstop, came up as a shortstop, and just failed as a shortstop, and you had to move in second. You can't have two. And you already signed LeMahieu. And you are going to give $300 million to Seager. It just doesn't really make sense. And if they give like 3 or 4 years to Rizzo,
oh, well, I won't be here anymore because I will be suspended by the Twitter gods.
A Rizzo Seager offseason would be one of the worst things to ever happen to me. And you know what? Like, people say, oh, that's just spoiled Yankee fans. You get Rizzo and Seager. Yeah.
You're not paying $20 for chicken tenders.
Right. And then on top of that, it's always funny because they'll be like the first ones to say, look at how much money you spent to not win the World Series. Like, that's an own. Like, exactly. Congratulations.
We're the ones yelling against it.
Yeah, you're the ones who are broke. It's not, like, I don't want, like, no offense, but I don't think anyone's clapping for the Chicago White Sox for not spending $200 million and winning their division. Congratulations to you guys. Wow, great stuff. Oakland A's, their WAR per dollar, man. Whew. I mean, that's the real banner we're hanging. But that's the real banger. Banner, not banger. I don't know why I said that. But
I'm sure we were saying the same thing. I'm sure podcasts, YouTube channels like you were saying the same thing in 2019, maybe this time of year, probably when Garrett Cole was a free agent. And the conversation was, how often does a player like this hit the open market? Going into his age 29 season, established as arguably the best pitcher in baseball, best pitcher in the league, and you can sign him for just money without giving up a single prospect, single anything. And since Correa has been in the league, he has the 6th most WAR, most by a shortstop. So, pretty comfortable calling him a top 10 player going forward. going into his age 27 season. Like, I mean, how often do you get a top 10 player going into his age 27 season on the open market just for cash at the most important position on the field? Not very often.
And on top of that, I mean, I don't care what Bob Clapp has to say about the Yankees don't have a true ace. Signing Garrett Cole, it's been a great investment. Outside the wild card game was a disaster.
The best pitcher in the league.
Yeah, he got injured. I really do think that was a matter of he just tried to pitch through injury, and that's his fault. Like there's no, it's not like
it's his fault.
Yeah, but I would say that paying Garrett Cole has made a lot. Like I would say we probably don't make the playoffs this year without Garrett Cole. We definitely don't make the playoffs this year without Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole's been worth
last
it.
year.
Right, yeah. Garrett Cole's he's the guy. Like I know he's the guy. If I see that, and I would say, you know, the investment there is a little riskier because he was older and he's a pitcher. He's going to break down maybe quicker. You can't really move him into a different position. You don't want to make him a reliever, right?
No.
I'm seeing that, and I'm seeing the parallels here. It's like, you know, if you settled for the second guy in Strasburg, where would we be right now? We're probably the worst contract.
Had like 10 innings pitched.
Yeah, but you know what? We signed him for less money, right?
Exactly.
Fewer years, $245 for 7 years. You know what? The parallels are actually very similar here.
I've been saying this.
You know, like, oh, well, you know, it's fewer years, it's fewer dollars. You got to understand there's a limit. How much more would you be willing to give Garrett Cole to have Strasburg? How much more would you be willing to have to Correa with Seager? You know, Seager might cost less, this and that. I want the better player. I just want the safer investment. That's what I want. This isn't, you don't get banners. Right, you don't get banned. Like, and I think I went through this phase too, where it's like I wanted to have as many guys that like I just didn't have to pay that much money to and have good players. You don't get a banner for having the lowest, you know, dollar per war in baseball.
Unless you're the Rays and you hang it.
Right, you know, and you know that's a GM thing. You know, your dollar per war. That's just how good you are at hand. You know, that's a GM, maybe front office player, whatever that is. I care about winning a World Series. That's it. Brian Cashman does not have to be the best general manager in the league for me to be happy with where I'd care about having the best player in the league over having the best general manager in the league. Like, Cashman's good enough. I know he's gonna get good players, this and that. Open the checkbooks, do your job. Don't do this nonsense of, well, he was cheaper, that's why we got him. It just made more sense. Because if we did that before, it never really pans out well. Never really pans out well. It just pans out well with like middle of the pack free agents, like your Nicholas Castellanos, Robbie Rays, those type of guys. We're like, maybe we shouldn't pay him the big bucks.
No, we're not paying Ray, and I don't think we should either. I think he's a 1-year wonder.
I mean, I think he'll still be good. I just don't like.
No, he will be.
It's just like that's not Correa. Like not it. Like that's like a free agent where it's like he became a top of the class free agent this year. Correa's like he's been. I would say he's probably for as great as I think Tatis is, Correa's so talented that if he just stayed healthy, I would say that he'd be up there in those conversations. The problem is the health, but
yeah,
I think he's cleaned a lot of that stuff up this year, and it's shown. You know, he's there. I mean, he's there for the taking. It's just got to give him money, like you said.
Especially with our new training staff, the Cressy and everything. Like
yes,
we were pretty healthy this whole year. I think that would play a huge part. I mean, he hasn't had a back issue since like mid 2019 where it came up, and he's played in like 90% of games ever since then. So I'm not really concerned about that. I'm concerned about Trevor Story's elbow because his velocity of throws has gone down like 10 miles an hour in the last 3 years, every year consistently too. And it's been a reoccurring thing, so I'm very concerned about that. Not concerned about Seager's injury. I think they'll be fine. And I'm very anti-Seager, obviously, but his injuries, he had Tommy John, there's nothing predictive going forward, and he got hit by that pitch, which can't really say anything about that.
There's no number I could put on this, but I also just want to Seager's not going to do this after he hits a home run at Yankee Stadium. I'm sorry, he's not doing that.
He's a loser. He's a mental midget. You need winners.
He's just boring. Like,
look at his face. He's a loser. He's a California guy. Like, he doesn't care. You look at him, you don't think that guy's a winner.
I mean, I get what you're saying. And I mean, Story has cool bat flips, but he's just kind of cooked. So like he'll bat flip.
He's not that good.
He'll bat flip his like 30th home run to get him past the 99 WRC plus. Dude crosses. You know for a fact too, his agent's just giving him shit the entire season. Like what are you doing, bro? Like this is your year. You're not gonna get paid if you like. And he would have hit free agency last year. Dude was gonna get $300 million probably because he was really good.
Oh, he was good. Yeah, he's not getting that much.
Yeah, dude sold his value. Like, and his agent's like, are you like dogging out there? Yeah, they won't trade me. In the second half, he suspiciously was a 124 WRC plus hit again. I'm like convinced the agent was like sitting down like, yo, you gotta care. Like, you're not making any money, and if you don't make money, I don't make money. And like, this is supposed to be, you know what I mean? And also, like, no one talks about like the fact that the Rockies were busted for 2018 cheating. See, Story has been worse every single year since. I don't know why that's not brought up for him, because like the whole thing is like Correa's only good because of cheating. Like Story's WRC plus has consistently gone down every single year since then. What does that tell you? He's a cheating.
It's concerning.
He's a cheating.
It's been a steady decline.
Yeah. You know what? I don't want cheaters like Story. You know what? Seager too. Like he was on a team. No. He wore the uniform of a team that had human trafficking going on, man. Like what?
Exactly.
What like?
Who's to say he doesn't support Trevor Bauer?
You know what? He never said anything about Bauer and Bauer's on the team. Never. Ever.
That's loser mentality. Correa speaks out about that. You know for a fact he does too.
You know what's the best part about Correa as well? I told this to my dad. You know for a fact if Gleyber Torres boots the ball at second base, Correa is just gonna eat. I would pay money to see that too. To just see him give him shit.
He'd be screaming at him from the dugout.
Or like if Gleyber dogs it out to first base. Like, I would love for Correa to just say, like, you're not as good as Jose Altuve. I played with him for my entire career, basically. You suck. Like, compared to Altuve, you suck, bro. Like, I've played with a very good second. You suck. Like, you're terrible. Just bully him into being good. That'd be great. That'd be beautiful.
I'd prefer Gleyber be gone, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
I can't, like, I know why they won't trade him, and that's because his value is lowest. I think what the Yankees should do is wait for him to have a really good year and then trade him. That's what I see. That would work.
I think he's a loser too. But
no more losers 2021. That's what we need. Just less losing.
No, exactly. We need winners.
Like
Robin
honestly,
Ray's a loser. He wears tight pants.
Yeah, he is a loser. Dude is celebrating his Cy Young after ending his team season. Like, that's just loser stuff. Like, Garrett Cole didn't show up because he knows I don't deserve it. Like, I don't deserve to celebrate. That's what a winner does.
He's recruiting Correa. That's why he couldn't show up.
And honestly, man, like, let's just be real here. Verlander's a loser too. He joined the team that won't have Carlos Correa. He's a loser. He took Correa's money. Exactly, he's a loser. That's what losers do. If he was a winner,
hearing reports that he's a loser.
You know what? What was it? He has like never won a World Series game or something like that.
Nope.
Like, yeah, he's a loser, man. He's a terrible World Series pitcher. He's like the Aaron Rodgers. Have you seen Aaron Rodgers' EPA chart? Throughout like the game importance goes up, his EPA goes down. It's a fucking hilarious chart. I love it. I don't even hate Aaron Rodgers. I like need him as my quarterback, but like it's hysterical. Like that's Justin Verlander, man. He's a Yankee. If he did ever pitch against the Yankees in the playoffs, he would not be a good playoff pitcher. And the Yankees are historical. Pitching against what? Brett Gardner hitting in the 30 hole, which somehow happened in the postseason. Like, I looked at like the ALCS lineups in 2019. I was like, why is Didi Gregorius hitting fifth? He had like an 80 WRC plus that year.
Our entire lineup was hurt.
Yeah, and it was like Edwin Encarnacion with like cooked beyond, like, I don't know what, he just like hit his entire aging curve. He forgot he was like 38 and just remembered. It was awful. Oh my God, he was so bad. But Correa, that 3-run home run off of Chad Green broke me. I started crying after that. He just tattooed it off of Green too. Like, I think it was a fastball. He just fucking over left field. He broke my heart. Like, I just started crying. And then Jay Happ one too. I was like, we stood up really late for that game. And I was texting my then partner at the time. And I was like, yeah, I think the Yankees are going to win this game. We're going to win game 2. We're going to be up 2-0. We're going to be up 2-0 in a series. And he hits the home run. And I'm like, I hate this team. This team is the worst thing ever. Baseball is disgusting. I'm never watching this sport again. I actually had my dad had to kick me out from the living room because I started crying, like just having a panic attack after Correa fucking owned Chad Green. And then Chapman too, right? Wasn't that what he had a walk-off against Chapman, right? Correa, 2017, game 1 or 2? Game 2. Remember that walk-off double where Altuve scores because Didi made
that was the one that Gary.
Yeah, Didi threw it to Gary and Gary remembered he was a slob and dropped it. Yeah. But don't worry, Gary, I'm not even like if the prospects in the deal are similar to what RBW says, Gary's my catcher. Like Steamer for catchers.
Gary's your catcher.
Yeah, Steamer defense. They think Perez is a good defender, so like Steamer defense is just not it. We're Steamer WRC plus people. That's all I care about. 105 WRC plus, sign me up. average defense, Tanner Swanson lab? Yes, sir. I can change my narratives on a dime. Like it's crazy. Like you tell me a player like Rizzo, 120 steamer WRC plus. Yes. Actually, I can't even do it for Rizzo. If Rizzo signs here,
You can't do it for Rizzo?
Yeah, I can't do it for Rizzo. Fucking I can't. Because it's like a LeMahieu situation. Yeah, it's a LeMahieu situation. It's the most obvious. Don't sign this guy to long money. Like the guy.
I was all anti-LeMahieu too the whole winter. I was with RBW the whole winter saying we should not re-sign him.
Yeah, I was on that train and I went on the Coke train once he signed here because I was like, he's gonna be fine. We got this. Yo, 15 million. Yo, it's all good. And I'm still coping. Like I'm still coping to this day. If he never signed here and he would have done that like another team, like I would just be like on my knees. Like I
would be like in heaven right now.
Yeah, but it's just it's an example of like the Yankees. I mean, it's not a matter of this team's problems like contact guys. It's just fly balls. We need more of them.
No, that was a Hal signing too.
Yeah, that was definitely.
It comes down to Hal is what it comes down to in the end. Because I mean, RBW and I were talking. I would trust him on this because like it's the thing that happened. So I would assume his source could just tell him what happened because it was a year ago, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And like, it was Cashman wanted him originally at the right price, and then Hal pretty much said like you have to get him. So I mean, this comes down to Hal. I'm sure. No one in their right mind thinks. I know Bob Clapton in his racist ass thinks that like talent evaluators in the Yankees organization rank Seager above Correa. Like, no, you're wrong. Like, you're a loser, Bob Clapsich. No one likes you. You have no family. But like, he's a loser. But I'm sure Brian Cashman would love to sign Carlos Correa to a 10-year deal right now. So it just comes down to if Hal can say, "Here's $250 million. Go do it." So. It comes down to Hal in the end. That's why we've been struggling. We've cut payroll by over $40 million twice in the Aaron Judge rookie contract era, or whatever you want to call it. Like, that's how losers meant to operate. Like, all of our struggles originate from Hal just being cheap.
And it's pretty fun. And I don't want to just like I'm not here to just like defend RBW for the sources stuff, but. It's funny. Clapton is going to be completely wrong about the shortstop situation and completely wrong about the Garrett Cole situation, and people are going to still go back and defend this guy. RBW could be completely right about the Olsen package, and people will still think he knows absolutely nothing. The part that he mentioned about the wedding is something that I don't know if you know Jack, right? LB Nerds. He was telling me the exact same thing.
I've talked to Jack already. Yeah. He said he's heard from multiple people that it's true.
Yeah, like the wedding thing, like that is. Then they don't want to move him during his wedding.
So I would assume, as of right now, at Wednesday at 7:37, it's not going to happen. At least the time being.
I would assume that the Yankees are going to have to. They're just gonna have to do it because you know what? If we overpay a little bit, I'm fine. I'd rather do that than lose Pereira to 40.
Oh, I don't care. I'm fine overpaying.
It's like, and this like yesterday was so annoying where people were like, "Are you kidding me? Better be getting Matt Chapman too." Oh my God, we're trading Austin Wells. I love Austin Wells. Great guy. Oh my God, we're trading Austin Wells for Matt Olson. Yeah, and you're asking the question: is Austin Wells going to be a 146 WRC plus hitter? Is he? He may be.
With Gold Glove defense.
Right. And then the whole thing too with like oh my God, I can't believe we're trading all these guys. I mean, this is how many top 15 guys, 5 prospects for a first baseman, 5 prospects for a top 20 player, top 25, 20 position player.
He's a 5 to 6 win player in Yankee Stadium.
Right. So it's not just a matter of, and I know we're derailing here, but I think this is a good conversation. So we're gonna keep this in.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about an elite player. I mean, I don't care what position he plays. He's an elite player.
No. How many times do you get the opportunity to trade for a top 20 position player? Arguably, I'm pretty comfortable calling him the best first baseman. Vlad's fat and can't play defense and has one good season. Like, I'm fine calling him the best first baseman in baseball right now.
I'm not even joking. I'm just going to use our word per 650 from 2019 to 2021 versus Vlad's. That's what I'm doing. Fuck Steamer. Like, yo, I'm ready, bro. I'm so ready. I have like actual like drafts just full of stuff. Like I had my Matt Ryan draft ready from like week 5. The second Baker got hurt, like I was like, yep, I got it ready. Matt Ryan, my quarterback. Let's go. I'm ready. Like I'm a very prepared person. Like I spend my entire time in Spanish class or like math class, like on my phone or like in my notebook, just like getting like steam projections, all that stuff down. So I'm ready. Like I'm ready. I'm so ready. Or like Aaron Hicks, like his Steamer 600s metrics. Like, yo, Hicks is either good if he's here or he's awful if he's gone. It's one or the other. But you know what? I know for a fact.
Yeah, I assume
there's one play. Like I couldn't be more sure of Correa just because there's no metric that points to him not being elite, and that's why like I desperately need him. Like you're adding an Aaron Judge caliber player. Do you know how valuable that is to add another Aaron Judge to your team? You're just adding another one. I don't know. Here you go, another Aaron Judge.
I mean, the next 5 years, would I take Aaron Judge over Carlos Correa? I cannot say that I'm definitely taking Aaron Judge over him.
One of my hot takes.
But
is that is that if the Yankees had to choose between picking to extend one of them, which they shouldn't, they should just extend both. No. I'd be perfectly willing to trade Judge to have Correa for the next 10 years because you would get something back for Judge.
3 years younger, plays a premium position.
Exactly.
Over the next 4 years, Correa could be a 25 to 30 win player.
I would say too, like Correa is just like, I mean, you don't have to worry also with like the whole, like, if I give him too many years, because I would be willing to give Correa 12 years to make the AAV down. He's so young, you can do it. It's like a Bryce Harper situation where Harper got 12 years and is getting 25 million AAV. Like, you can manipulate this stuff. And the Yankees whiffed on Harper. I wish they had him. Harper's so good. But you tweeted this too. Correa was a better player hitting the market than Harper was. Harper was 3 years removed from that 2015. He had a terrible 2018 defense.
And I love Harper. Harper's amazing.
He's so good. But Correa,
and like, I get it. We had Stan, so it's not the worst thing in the world. Like, there was an excuse. Like, you just traded for Stan. Like, okay, like it's whatever. But like, also, Harper was never an elite fielder, and like, I don't know how he's going to project when he's a little older. Like, what if he's already a below average defender this year, like his MVP year, what's he going to be in 3 years or whatever? And that's a 13-year deal. I'm pretty confident that Correa can play at least above average shortstop until he signed for 2022, 2027, maybe 2028. Like, he's got 6 years left in the tank to play good defense. I don't think Corey Seager can play at short through 2024.
Also, one thing I like, and I remember seeing this in a foolish baseball video with like Simmons, how Andrelton Simmons projects defensively. Correa having 21 defensive runs saved with league average sprint speed's a great sign, because that means he doesn't rely on athleticism to get to
his arm.
Yeah, he's an incredible defender, and he doesn't rely on speed to do it. So as he's becoming, a 48th percentile, 47th, 46th, 45th, the DRS may start to creep down a little bit. See it go. I don't think he's an average short defensive run save the season. But if he's still hitting 10, and you move him to third base is like age 37 season
with that arm,
yeah. I mean, 36, even age 35, 6, and 7 season. If he's at third base, he's probably going to be at least an average defender there, and it's a positive defensive adjustment, which means he's an above average defender if he's an average defender at third base. There's no reason not to get him.
And I mean, his range has never been his strong suit, and he's still posting the best defensive seasons of anyone right now. So if his range just stays the same, he's not relying on speed, I don't see a reason why he wouldn't be a great third baseman who has the best arm of like any infielder pretty much. If he has even less range to cover at third base then. So I don't really see a problem compared to with Seager, like I see a problem with Seager at third base. It doesn't sound like a winning solution.
One thing I also wanted to point out with Correa is that, he had a rough 2020, but that's because he had like a spike in his ground ball rate. And I think launch angle is more of one of those things where like, if you just have a weird year with your launch angle, that's fixable.
Yeah. It's also 60 games. I'm not concerned.
Yeah. When he hits his fly balls, he doesn't pull too many of them. So that would lead me to that would tell me that he's not like a Houston merchant either. Where like you would look at Bregman. I'd be concerned if Bregman ever left Houston.
Bregman's cooked.
Like right now he's cooked. Like if he left Houston, even in his 2018, 2019 days, I would expect the WRC plus to drop. Like I'm scared of Simeon going to Houston because if Simeon plays third base for the Houston Astros,
he's hitting 50 homers. Yeah,
every single year. He's like literally the biggest short left field merchant.
I literally said that in the Astros chat today. Like you should sign Simeon to like a 3-year, just huge AAV deal. Like the dude's a 160 WRC plus hitter with the Crawford boxes. And
on top of that, like I don't think I've ever seen him hit like a bomb, like an actual like 450 foot tank. No. All of his home runs like 380 feet to left field. Like, okay, man.
Yeah,
like
he just hits wall scrapers over the left field wall.
But you know what? That's a great sign of a hitting development when you're pulling a bunch of you're pulling a bunch of fly balls if you don't have that much power and you're getting it over left field.
Exactly. He knows what he's doing.
Yankees should do. Like that's what Glaber should. Like Glaber, I don't care if his xWOB was 330. You think I fucking care? If he's hitting 38 home runs, I don't care. Oh, his xWOB was 380 his 2019. I don't care. I don't.
Ball went over the fence.
Yeah. You know what? If he's a 120 plus WRC plus hitter and he's slugging a lot, do you think I care what his xWOB is? I don't. I just don't. Like, no. You know, he seems to stand too with like, I don't know if you've seen some people like, oh, he's a 350 xWOB. He's going to regress. Stop.
The ground balls. They see the ground balls in the WOBA tanks.
Look at anyone look at me in the face and tell me that man is going to regress offensively because he had a 128 WRC plus in 2018. I'm so sure a year in which J-Happ was a good pitcher matters for 2022. Like, I'm so sure. Like, when people use 2018, like, that bothers me so much. It's like, well, wait, I don't care. Back then, I was convinced Whit Merrifield was like one of the greatest players I'm going to see at second base in the next 10 years. Like, dude's like, oh, he's a 5-tool player. Like, 2018 does not matter. I'm sorry.
A sneaky good thing for Correa also, his chase rate this year plummeted.
Yeah.
Since he came into the league in 2015, he's first in walk percentage. He's a 10.8 walk rate, dude. And this year, his chase rate had like a career low by like 8 points, I think. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, if you're just talking like aging signs, that's just a lot. And an encouraging sign, too, whereas someone else could just be trying to hit the ball super hard. Like, I know Seager's a huge first pitch hitting guy, which I'm not going to slander Seager's hitting at all, but there's a difference between being – Correa is a lot more patient. He waits for his pitches. Like, we have seen with the Yankees, that is their philosophy. They wait for their pitch. This year, they just didn't hit their pitch because they all suck, but that is their philosophy. They wait for their pitch, and then they do damage to their pitch.
Yeah, and, you know, I think that we saw this with Baez and Perez, where their walk rates jumped in the second half. And it was like, oh my God, their play discipline got better. No, they just didn't. They just
didn't get thrown strikes.
Yeah, you know, that's gonna. And Seager, that happened with Seager. Do I think he's gonna like suck because he's not gonna like people are gonna be like, oh, let's just throw more strikes and he's gonna suddenly become like, oh, Alex Bregman cooked? No, but you're right. Like there's a more sustainable level of play discipline with Correa compared to Seager.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's another thing where, like, I really don't understand why Boomer Yankee fans don't love Correa. Like, there's really nothing to not like about it other than the cheating scandal. But even then, I would say that, you know, how many World Series titles have the Yankees won because of cheaters? A-Rod in 09. Without A-Rod, we're not in the World Series. Like, I would go as far as saying the Angels beat us in that series because the Angels used to own us in the playoffs. Let's think. Like the late 90s, early 2000 runs, like you had Clemens on some of those teams, and he was a notorious cheater. Pettit took HGH, I think.
Cheaters win.
Yeah. No, you know, I like the idea of honor and all that stuff, but I was one of those kids where it's like, yeah, I'm going to win with honor. I have never won a championship in gym sports, all right? So I am ringless. I'm ringless, all right? So I would not say that method works. I would say, yes.
Honor is terrible.
Yeah, just win. Just win, baby.
I cheat on every chemistry quiz in high school that we had. I would look on my laptop and find the answers for everything.
Discord.
Everyone cheats.
Discord for that. I used to use Discord. Just go on. We used to AP Chem Tuesday nights. Yes, every Tuesday night. I don't know. I can admit.
We should probably do. What do you think? What's your prediction this offseason?
I think. Okay, so I don't want to say the Yankees are going to get Correa because we know my history with me saying this is going to happen. Because never happens. Never happens. So I think the Yankees get. You know what? I think the Yankees don't get Correa. I think the Yankees get Seager. We're going to say that. I'll say that. I gotta be safe. I gotta be careful because if I say we're getting Correa and we don't, like I think I'm just gonna be active at that point.
I mean, I have to say we're getting him. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't not. I also don't see Hal Steinbrenner giving out that contract to Corey Seager because he wouldn't sleep at night paying that type of money. And I just like he wouldn't give Patrick Corbin the 6th year out of some whatever. I mean, Patrick Corbin sucks now, but like I think we all wanted Patrick Corbin at the time. Like, I was, like, sitting on the toilet taking a shit, and I saw that, and I was like, what are you doing, Hal? I was so mad that he wouldn't give him that 6th year. Because, like, he was coming off, like, great season and everything. He wouldn't pay Harper, wouldn't pay Machado. Who are arguably, like, I mean, they are worse than Correa now, but, like, they're also top 25 players, at least. But, like, he wouldn't pay them. Which, I mean, he still should have, but he didn't. And I don't really... If he didn't pay Manny Machado, why would he pay Corey Seager? Or like if he didn't pay Bryce Harper, why would he pay Corey Seager? It just doesn't, to me, add up. Like he didn't pay Corbin, and he waited all the years to pay someone like Garrett Cole, who you don't get in free agency ever. And I mean, you can compare Cole and Correa, and to me, they're similar. Like you don't get a player like Correa ever. And I just think that they don't pass up the opportunity, and he gives out one of the monster deals just because it would align with their recent philosophy.
That's actually a really good explanation. I like that. You had this planned out. Like I
tweeted this like 2 months ago. I had a huge like 8-tweet thread.
That's actually like really well done. Like that is like great evidence.
The thread. I was like,
bro, that is like actually like I'm like my reasoning is simply I don't want to jinx it, or if the Yankees have money, that's why they will get Correa. That's literally like my argument.
Yeah, I tweeted out I tweeted this out what day? October 21st, so a couple weeks ago. I'll DM it to you. It was like I pretty much just reiterated the same thought.
This is like really well done. Like genuinely, that is a very well done point.
I was talking about it with my dad too, and like my dad's like, I tweet about my dad obviously, but he's a diehard Yankee fan. Like he follows every like Hal cash room. He's been texting me like, why is Olsen not a Yankee the last like day? And he's like, yeah, why would Hal give that money? Because it just doesn't align with his financial just like values. Like he's been so fucking cheap, and he's really gonna do this. Like it would just make absolutely no sense that he wouldn't pay Manny Machado what he was gonna pay. And Machado doesn't project to decline anytime soon. Like he'll be an above average third baseman for, I would say, a decently long time.
Projects really well.
And he's a good
top 20 player already projected.
Exactly. Really he loves the projections. And if he wouldn't pay him, like is he really gonna pay Seager for below average third base in 3 years, and then you're banking on Anthony Volpe, who's gotten at most high A plate appearances? It's like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
And I would have to say as well, when it like my dad and my uncle are like my huge Yankees. They're the reason why I'm a huge Yankees fan. They're big into like we need lefties, but even they tell me all the time, like, Correa's a better player. We need Correa. Like, Seager's cool and all, but why are we going to pay him to be a third baseman? Like, I think when you're at the level in which you have people who look like we need this left-handed hitter, right? And they're even like, yeah, but like, Correa's just better. Like, there's
nothing against lefties. Lefties are great.
Yeah.
If there was a Correa that was a lefty, I would say sign the lefty Correa because it's a lefty and it would just be better. But there is no lefty Correa. So it's like, you have Joey Gallo, who he will have an above 120 WRC plus with Gold Glove defense. He'll be a 5-win player probably. And we'll have Matt Olson, I think. I'd be pretty shocked if we don't have Matt Olson next season, just because the A's care about not paying him more than they care about getting a fair deal. So if it comes down to it, they'll just say, like, screw it, take him. We can't pay him. So I think at the very least we'll have those two. And then we'll have Hicks, who will be a lefty. We'll have Gardner getting 120 games. So, like, we'll have the lefty bats in there.
I think the thing I'm only worried about with the A's, though, is just that I feel like the A's, I know you're right that they want to get rid of the money, but like, why would they, like, they can just make a deal with another team. They can just do that. Like,
Who's going to trade for Olsen, though?
I don't know, but you know what? I think someone would emerge.
I was trying to think,
like if the Yankees lose,
and they're going to outbid us, though. Who can outbid us?
Well, if you lose a lot of guys in the Rule 5 draft, which we would, there are teams who can outbid us at that point, and that's the scary part. Like I think the Yankees,
the Brewers.
Yeah, the Brewers. I don't think the Brewers can. I think the Brewers are not a team that are.
I'm just trying to think what teams would. Like the Dodgers, they'd have to move Muncy
to second. Yeah, they would do that.
I think Cashman lets another team get him. Like, seems not likely.
I think
hope not, at least.
Yeah, I think the Yankees just need to say, look, okay, here's what we're offering. What is that other piece that you need, right? And let's just
throw in some cash. Throw in 10 mil. Like, go the whole cheapest route. We'll take Olsen and we'll pay another player's salary who we don't even need. You can keep the player for free. Get the free WAR. Like, we'll pay for his salary.
Dude, what honestly, like, if I'm being real though, like, and this sounds dumb, I've said this a few times to a couple of friends, like, it would hurt me to see Ken Waldichuk go more than it would see me see like Jason Dominguez go. Like, no joke. Like, I have like
Ken Waldichuk guy.
I legitimately have I had nightmares at the deadline of Ken Waldichuk going. Like, I had a nightmare and like I woke up in a cold sweat that like Ken Waldichuk got traded for Trevor Story. And It was like I don't know what it was. I just like snapped and I just like couldn't go back to bed. Like Jason Dominguez does not scare me nearly as much as that. I don't know what.
No, I love Waldichuk too, but I would also drive him to Oakland myself.
Yeah,
from Wisconsin if the men getting traded.
If it would hurt for me personally, but I think like I would. There's once you give up Peraza, all the mid-level guys, like the below Volpe and Jason Dominguez guys,
they're all expendable.
The Dame, I don't know if
we'll
I can
find
find
new
the
ones. Like,
yeah,
we're so good at building depth in the minor leagues,
bro. We're literally about to replace Peraza. We're gonna replace. If we traded Volpe, we're gonna replace with Roderick Arias. We're gonna replace Volpe with Alexander Vargas.
Exactly.
By the way, Alexander Vargas will be the next Oswald Peraza. He's a switch hitter. So I'm already like, and we can replace Wells too. First baseman, come on. Anthony Garcia is going to replace Wells.
I'm very pro trading Wells.
Yeah,
we have Antonio Gomez.
Yeah, dude.
And Donnie Sands, who was the best name in the minor leagues.
And Wells, like I don't think Wells is going to stick at catcher. If we're talking just strictly like left-handed bats, like Anthony Garcia, like no, this is not like biased because he's a Garcia, this and that. He's like genuinely got like incredible power. Like I don't know if you've seen the clips of him hitting and like his. Let me pull up his grades because he's like incredible. Hold on, let me pull this up. So I
was reading something about him this morning.
Yeah, he had a 364 isolated power in A ball at a 379 at the complex. He has a 70 grade out of 80 raw power tool. Like this dude is Chad. Like this dude, I love this guy. He has a 36. How does he? It's so weird too because he has like a 10% fly ball rate because he just hits a bunch of line drives. He just doesn't hit fly balls.
I really hope that the scenario is that they have a deal agreed and they just haven't said anything because that means if we don't, that means he's not getting traded because they're not going to trade him on his wedding.
Yeah,
and that means that all our Rule 5 guys are going to the shithole, which I wouldn't really prefer.
Yeah, I think Garcia. I think Pereira.
I really hope they just have a deal agreed and no one on the planet knows, and like Cashman announces it at like 11 p.m. tonight before I go to sleep. But I don't know. I'm getting a little worried because I really don't want to watch him and play for someone else next year. If he's in the Red Sox, I would shit myself.
If Matt Olson is a Boston Red Sox, I'm gonna blow. I'm not like.
I'm blowing up Fenway.
Okay, I can't say that because I can't.
That's a joke, Jack.
But I will say that my brain matter could be viewed publicly on the streets of Long Island. That is all I will say.
I'll say that Brian Cashman could be receiving a package. That's about it.
Nice package, friendly mail. Good friend Ted. No, seriously though, I can't. Olsen has to be Yankee. Correa, if Correa goes to Boston. If Correa goes to Boston.
Oh no, that's. I'm not going to talk about that. I have to focus the rest of the night after this too. I can't be thinking about that.
No, that's not good for my health. We have positive thoughts out here. Isn't the one like Stroman try to like preach like positive thoughts? No negative talk. No negative talk.
Bitter,
no haters.
Bitter midget.
I can't even make them 5'8".
He's a sad, bitter little man. That's about it.
Bro, it's gonna be so funny when Matt Olson hits like a 450-foot tank off of him, but it's gonna be like, you paid. You look at you guys. You guys have like.
And then he fields like a Stanton 118-mile-an-hour ground. But the next play is retweeting them after the game when they lose 8-1.
Bro, he's gonna be retweeting his box score stats when he gives a fuck. He's gonna tweet out. It was so funny when after that Giants game that the Mets lost on the road, the dude was fucking retweeting and
he's retweeting his highlights of like a fielding play.
He's gonna point to the gold in his Gold Glove after he like catches a line drive, and then after giving up 3 runs in that inning, it's gonna be fucking hysterical.
He points to his glove as the Mets go down 7-2 in the 8th.
Bro's gonna get like bro's gonna like get a swinging strikeout, go nuts, and then walk back to the dugout and watch the Mets like go down in the 9th, and then or bottom of the 7th. Excuse me. Wait, do we have 7-inning doubleheaders still? Is that gonna be a thing? Probably will.
Probably, if I had to guess.
Bro, I got it. We've been covering like 1,000 different things here. Stroman's a midget. He's better.
I know.
Also needs to be a Yankee. Austin Wells is cool, but he's not that guy, pal. And Corey Seager is a loser. But that is subject to change. That's subject to change if he's a Yankee or not. If he's a Yankee, we will walk back a lot of the things said. I will come on here to publicly apologize to Corey Seager, and I will say Carlos Correa is an injury-prone player. No, I can't even go that far. I'm gonna just post. I'm gonna post the fact that Wander Franco is projected to be better because he's gonna have way more play appearances. That's it. That's actually true though. Like I don't want to ever point. I don't want to like point this out too much, but like Wander Franco is projected to be better because he's projected to have like so many more play appearances. But I'll just like retweet that a bunch of times when that happens, if it happens, which we hope he doesn't. If it doesn't happen though, Correa.
I already said I'm not buying Corey Seager merchandise unless he wins World Series MVP.
Yeah, that's fair.
I already made it official. Like he doesn't get a jersey until he is holding up a World Series MVP trophy. Whereas Carlos Correa, I will be broke within the first 10 minutes if he signed.
If the thing is too, like the sad part about this is if Seager just signs with us before we get Correa, the Correa dream just ends there. It's gonna be like a sad like watching to see like that like fear of like please God make him go somewhere where he can't hurt us.
Just Detroit.
Yeah. But even then, like, did you know for a fact Detroit's going to meet us in the playoffs? Correa's going to hit, like, fucking 35 home runs.
Oh, he's doing a thing, and he's going to go like that. He's going to point to his wrist.
A Chad Green 3-run home run with 2 outs is a lock in the – it's a lock. It's a lock.
Chad Green's gone this week.
Bro, I can't even, like – Chad Green's evil. That man is evil. He hates me. He is an evil human being. He has been like at the center.
He sent me into a wave of depression for like 72 hours after the Altuve homer, like the one this year in Houston.
He did that.
I like wouldn't speak to anyone for 3 days.
He did that as I got.
I was at work too watching.
Ow.
I know that was brutal,
dude.
I was at work watching on my work iPad in the laundry room, like folding towels, and I see that, and I just turned it off and I like sat down for an hour. I wouldn't speak to anyone, including people that I know that are Astros fans close to me.
I would not like. That and it was the All-Star break too, so we didn't have any games of revenge. We won that series, and it felt like we lost, like we got swept.
That was after Gary hit the 3-run homer too, and it was such good Gary vibes.
Dude, I remember. I want to. You know what? I'm just gonna get back on the Gary train because I really like this sexy person. Like it's like this guy's hitting monster donks, and basically you are fucking stupid.
I love that picture.
It's so dumb. And I remember I used to keep going at this one guy who would keep tweeting me about Gary, and I would just send him the picture and get like 100 likes. But FRAA, steamer. It has rotted my brain. It is where it is. I've gone off the deep end. I've hit like what like RBW's hit with like his horny tweets is where I've hit with like steamer. Like I'm just off the rails. Like I will tweet anything.
RBW's down bad.
Like I think Steven Ridings is a better steamer ERA than Nick Anderson, and so Steven Ridings is a better reliever than Nick Anderson, even if Nick Anderson comes back healthy. That's how it is. Or like Joely Rodriguez is like a steamer 3.7 ERA, so like he's elite. Yeah, that's just how I am. I just need Corey Seager to be signed by the Texas Rangers within the next 2 weeks, and then I can fully vote. If he signs somewhere else, I'm like 1,000% that we'll have Correa. Not even like a question. Absolutely,
that would make me very happy if he signs.
Yeah, and then
I want a statue built if it happens because no one was on board with it until I started it.
One thing I also want from this is I want the ability to go back through those tweets, through those people who were saying the Yankees would never do it and the Yankees could never get him. And I want to go back and look at every single one of those tweets and retweet. I have like 70 bookmarks. It's incredible.
You have an RBW probably has like 400.
Dude, I like honestly, I wanted Olsen to get traded to the Yankees yesterday just because I wanted to see what would have happened. That would have been the funniest thing ever. Like I'm not even joking. Like I don't think anyone would have been safe. Anyone ever. Like he would have just been like shitting on everyone.
Yesterday was an iconic day. I'll leave it at that. That's about it. It was iconic with everything going on. But I just need this one thing. Like it's been my thing for so long. Like I got slandered in April. I was like doing this and people were like ratioing me to hell. Like we're never taking that cheater. And then like if you look back at those tweets, the same people are the ones that have hashtag Correa to NYY in their like username. Like the same ones saying like we hate him.
I remember in like right around when the season started, I said, I think it was when Correa initially got the offer, and then it was like an embarrassing offer. And I was like, if Correa wanted to be a Yankee, I mean, I would want it to be a Yankee. Like he's a pretty good player, right? And I remember specifically this one guy was getting at me. I found that he was like, "Let's go, we got to roll this Chapman." I was like, really? Let's go. We got to roll this Chapman. Are you serious right now? Are we real? Like, you could literally, like, some of these people have been on Twitter for so long. You can find their reactions from 2016. So, I mean, I don't think the reaction, I think the reaction will be a lot more tame now. I think a lot of Yankee fans are warmed up to it, thankfully, you know, and I think you are one of these people who have done a great service.
I wonder who started that.
Yeah, you've done a great service to this app.
Like, I mean, my friend was telling me that he thinks the reaction has been better because of me.
I
won't say that I think it. I'm just going to say that he said it.
I would agree. Like, I would say that.
I mean, overall, I tweeted out in April, like when Gleyber made an error, I tweeted out a Correa Photoshop saying, dread it, run from it, destiny still arrives. And it got like 40 replies and it got like ratio. And it was like April 20th or something.
And you know what? I would say
in
that
like
you should just run away with it. With the credit, take it. Who's going to take it? No one else is going to take it. Just
100%.
Take it. It's yours, man. Like, if
like my account, if you remember, it got suspended in April. I don't even know if I was following you then, but
you were.
I said something to someone that I was friends with and it got suspended. And I made a burner and it was literally, the app was Trade Gleyber and the picture was Correa and a Yankee hat. And that was like April 20th. You're going to trade Gleyber. It's my backup now. And like, that was the first 3 weeks of the season. So, I mean, I'm not going to say that I started it, but some were saying that I predicted Olsen too.
Yes.
I was saying in July, it would be a shame if his arbitration raise was too much for the Yankees to handle.
Or it'd be a shame if Voit was a part of a trade for Olsen. I think you tweeted that specifically to me.
I mean, that was when the A's were in like first place too. I was like, if Matt Olson were to make a lot of money in arbitration next year, the Oakland Athletics probably wouldn't want to pay that for a non-premium position. I'm just saying, it doesn't seem like the Oakland way.
And you know what, man? I would say when it comes to Correa, when it comes to Olsen, when they become, and I hope it's a when, not an if they don those pinstripes, and if they're Yankees, and if, you know, like you're going to have like just an incredible amount of narratives from, and you have a ton of bookmarks, and I'll send you as many bookmarks as you need, bro. Like, when it happens, I may only have one tweet saying, let's go. And then it's just going to be retweet. Ryan Garcia ESM retweeted. Ryan Garcia ESM retweeted. I'm just here for revenge. I'm here for blood. Yo, the amount of people who you start seeing Correa overrated tweets now, right? It's pretty funny. You would never see that in August. You would never see that.
The opposing fan copium is getting here.
Or like,
it's creeping into their heads that like they're seeing Hal Steinbrenner say like, we like Correa, and now they're like, shit, the Yankees actually might sign him, and they're starting to say like, he's injury prone, he's overrated. Like, you can slowly see copium starting to get on the timeline now from other fan bases.
And it's, you know, it's the funniest thing too. When it comes to like all the fan bases, like, oh my God, you're gonna listen to RBW about Matt Olson. They're gonna listen to some random guy on the New York Daily News about the Yankees not going on and getting a big shortstop over Jeff Passan. Hal Steinbrenner himself.
Even capitalize the word Yankees.
Dude, it's the lengths people will go to believe that the Yankees are not going to have no shot. Like, people are just moving the goalposts now. Even if the Yankees don't sign Correa, I'm still going to say they were all wrong, because the Yankees definitely had a chance at Correa. Correa definitely wanted to come here. And if they it doesn't matter if they do or don't sign him. I think we're at the point where it's dumb to have ever said that the Yankees Correa's never going to be Yankee. I will not care about what like Icy Moncada or Hoodie Burns. Like, I don't care what any of them have to say about what Carlos Correa wants. I care about what Carlos Correa does and wants. And I don't like the idea that like these 16-year-olds would know, and I'm 17, so I can say these 16-year-olds, you know, older now, maturity. But the idea that these 16-year-olds thought that they knew better for Correa and his family than Carlos Correa and his family is never not going to be funny. Yeah, these kids, like, imagine his wife, like, would you, if it was if my wife stopped me from getting $350 million, that is not my wife.
I'm leaving.
That is my ex. That is my ex.
No.
We have divorced.
Do you think there was any other former Astros players that got over $300 million that had to move to the tri-state area that he could consult with? Who knows?
I mean,
it's not like there's
Garrett
a shortage
Cole
of Astros players on large contracts.
I hated Cole more than
Garrett Cole cheated us out of a World Series more than Carlos Correa ever did.
I no joke hated that man. Like, I was telling my dad, like, Dad, look, Cole's great, but he's a loser. All right, he's a loser. We know he's cheating. He didn't show up in the World Series and come out of the bullpen. He's a losing idiot, and I hate him. I hated him. Like there was not a single player I hated more on the Astros than him. And there was Correa and Altuve and all those guys. I hated him specifically so much because he should have been a Yankee and he should have been this, and it just bothered me. Once he signed, I love Garrett Cole. Let's go, Garrett Cole, one of my favorite players on the team. I love this guy. Simple. Become a Yankee. If you're not a Yankee and I don't like you, if you become a Yankee, it's a good chance I like you. It's not that hard.
I mean, I think we've had Aaron Boone, Brian Cashman, and Hal Steinbrenner say explicit, like we didn't get like a non-answer, like, oh yeah, we're going to evaluate all facets. Like we value a lot of things and we'll see what happens. They literally explicitly said, we do not care about the past. We're going to get better. I really don't know how much, like, I know you can't be out on a player just given like the CBA guidelines, but like, how many non-answers have we seen from Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman over the years? We literally call Aaron Boone like the king of fake answers, and people hate him for it. Like, he could have easily said, like, yeah, I got to talk to our guys about it. It's obviously a tough situation. Who knows what we're going to do? We're obviously trying to improve the team. Easy answer. He does it every night after we get shitty losses and he uses the bullpen like wrong. It's not hard. Right. He's a master at giving bad answers. He explicitly said, oh, it's not a factor. I mean, I don't know how you can say they're not in on him right now.
I also don't see.
And if you do believe RBW, it is their top priority.
I don't see anything for Seager.
I'm not saying you have to believe him.
Right. I don't see any of these answers for Seager. I don't see this. He's a beautiful left-handed hitter, a World Series shit. I don't see any of that for Seager. Any of it.
The only people that have said Seager is just Ken Rosenthal saying Seager would be a great fit. That's it.
Or
that's all they've said. It's just Seager would be a good fit.
Prasan, who basically said Verlander's a Yankee just for Verlander to go back to Houston. That's the other guy. Like, these guys are making predictions.
Prasan has Scott Boris's genitalia up his body. And that's coming from Junior Jeff Passan.
They're making predictions. I don't think they're genuinely.
He just said he doesn't know where Correa is going to go.
Yeah.
2 days ago, he said, I just don't know. Like, he doesn't know. And if the Yankees want him, then he's a Yankee. It's as simple as that. Like, they're not going to be outbid by the Tigers if they decide he's our guy.
Right.
Like, they may say we have a price limit, but that's different than saying he's our guy. They probably made an offer to Manny Machado. I'd be pretty surprised if they didn't. I mean, I don't remember the details, but like, I'm sure they made an offer to him. They probably had a certain limit and said, we're not going past this offer. So if like San Diego gives him that $300 million, then like, he's a Padre, whatever. But if they say Correa's our guy, he'll be in pinstripes. So
exactly, and it
comes down to
that's just how it is.
Exactly.
I really think we got to all aspects of Correa here. I think this is as pro Correa. I think we did, in terms of like spreading Correa propaganda, I think this will be good. I think we covered everything that needs to be covered with Correa.
We did.
Got into some, a little bit of some side stuff, but I think it was all important. This is very important stuff. All right. If you're doing your homework, if you're, doing work.
Good podcast. Pretty much a podcast.
Right. If you're doing work right now or like homework, like I'm just going to be honest with you. Like it's not helping us get number 28 unless you're Brian Kai. It's not helping us get number 28. Put it down for a second. Go on Fangraphs, go on Savant, go on Twitter. Tweet some Correa stats.
They see it. If you don't think the Yankees don't see stuff on social media, they see it. They lurk.
Make it so that Yankee fans want Correa as badly as Yankee fans wanted DJ or not as
Garrett Cole.
Fans. Or Garrett Cole. Make it so that Hal knows this is who the fan base wants. That's not Seager. It's not a division.
That's who's going to bring in the money.
Exactly.
He's going to sell Correa jerseys. They're going to bring in chicken buckets, bring in season tickets.
I'm already saying I'm not buying a jersey until Correa signs because I want a Correa jersey. That's the jersey I want because I know he's going to get a unique number 2.
I can't I live in Wisconsin, obviously, if people know. So I don't really go to games anymore. So I can't really buy jerseys. So I won't buy an Olsen jersey just because I won't. But if we sign Correa, I will be getting a Correa jersey. And I won't be paying for it because I've already made bets with people. So they'll be giving it to me for free.
Bets?
Or not bets. It's more like a friendly wager. I have to do something if Rizzo signs. And if Correa signs, then I get a jersey. But
oh my God,
even if not, I still would be buying.
If Rizzo becomes a Yankee, it's disgusting stuff. Like there's literally nothing to I remember his steamer project. He's literally lost the whole war in steamer projection. His value just dropped. They docked him 8 points in WRC plus. They sent his defensive rating way down. Like steamer does not.
There's a world where Gary Sanchez finishes with a higher WAR than Anthony Rizzo next season.
Yeah, there's a world where that happens. There's a pretty. You know what?
Premium position.
Gary Sanchez had a 1.9, I think, WAR. Anthony Rizzo had a 1.5 R WAR. Anthony Rizzo's a bigger problem than Gary Sanchez. If I have Anthony Rizzo at first base, it'd be worse first baseman than I have at catcher. That's if people just want to go based on last year, that's true.
What was Gary making? $6 million last year?
Yeah. So
and he put up like a 1.9 WARP.
If people have a problem with and you know I've been very vocal about Higgy and very when Pena signed, I lost my mind. If you have Gary Sanchez on your team, we tweeted this too. It's not as big of a problem as people. So people think like this team's going to suck.
If he's the worst player in your lineup, you're in a great spot. That's what I tweeted.
Yeah, you are. You just are. Now, do I think Higgy should? Whether Higgy should play over him is a completely different question than if Gary's your catcher.
No, it's irrelevant.
It's yeah, and you know what? Your best case scenario is that Gary's good, and if you know what? I'll say this too: if the Yankees keep him and they let Pena sign for $4 million a year, that tells me that the Yankees really do see something, and that they're just smart. They're smarter than I am. When the Yankees do something that I don't agree with, I just go, "You're smarter than me," unless it's Correa or Seager. Like I just go, "You're smarter than me. I'm not smarter than you. You guys know what you're doing."
Signing
Go
DJ.
ahead. Yeah. Well, that's a different. But you know what? I was advocating for Andrelton Simmons, and Andrelton. You know what? He would have fit in the culture here. He would have really fit this culture very well.
He would have fit with Aaron Judge specifically in the culture,
yeah,
and probably Anthony Rizzo. I'm not going to mention specifics, but
Higashioka reportedly
niche with Higgy, Judge, and Rizzo.
Yeah, Higashioka's he's never really been one to he doesn't really like taking jabs at other people. He doesn't like taking jabs himself. Absolutely not. Same thing with Judge.
Judge usually stays quiet like that too.
Yeah, sometimes he sees sharp objects and he just has to.
I don't have much interaction with Judge these days after he stumbled across my account, but we pretty much covered everything.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming on, man. This has been great. If you want to plug anything, go right ahead. I'm gonna make sure I have your Twitter in the description, but if you want to plug it.
I mean, I guess follow me. I've gotten my Twitter is through the roof since the offseason started. I'm getting like 5 million impressions a month at least. Like I've got like 2 million in the last 2 weeks. Like my account's taken off. So if you want to follow me, go ahead. Content's gonna be terrible.
I disagree with the terrible part. Yeah, you've got great tweets, phenomenal tweets. But that'll wrap things up. This is a long episode, but it's whatever. We're gonna just put in whatever how long it was. But I'm Ryan Garcia from Fireside Yankees. I hope to do more stuff with different people coming on the off season, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Ryan out.